Game one is in the books. The Minnesota Timberwolves beat the LA Lakers in pretty emphatic fashion. They won the game by 22 points, and the Lakers, for several stretches of the game, weren't even really competitive. The Timberwolves were doing whatever they wanted. They were playing much better defensively. They shot the ball better. Their offense was moving. You had many players from the Timberwolves that were impacting the game. And there's a reason why the Timberwolves looked like they were more dynamic than the LA Lakers. And these are things that have been going on and festering throughout the year. The thing about the LA Lakers is the LA Lakers have three really good offensive players. LeBron James is still a very capable offensive player. He's not the most reliable shooter, but he still can find ways to score. When he's able to get to the rim, when he charges to the paint, he's effective. I don't think anybody can really argue that. Luka Doncic is clearly one of the best offensive forces in the NBA. He's a unique talent. His ability, his uncanny ability to get points seemingly so easy. Whether it's his, the pace in which he kind of picks up and down, getting ways to get his shots off, his ability to hit those incredible threes, step backs, fallaways, fadeaways, floaters. He's got just a bunch of ways to score, and he's incredible. And then the emergence of Austin Reeves has been amazing to see. The Lakers have offensive players, but their offense is predicated on isolations, trying to find mismatches and switches and little screens. It's very basic. So I want to hark to something that I spoke to in previous videos and on live streams about J.J. Redick and his job in his first game as the head coach of the Lakers in the playoffs. J.J. Redick's decision-making, whether it was in the planning, the preparation, or just the execution within the game. So calls within the game as it's going on, calls at timeouts, whatever adjustments had to be made, whether it was defensive matchups or offensively, none of it was working. The Timberwolves scored 117 points in a game where Anthony Edwards was injured for almost a full quarter. And the Lakers couldn't even muster up 100 points with, I would say, of the four best offensive players in the series, the Lakers have three of them. I want to let that sink in. The Lakers have the better offensive talents, yet they couldn't score 100 points against the Timberwolves. I always give credit to the Timberwolves because I think defensively they're very good. But when I look at the decision-making that J.J. Redick has control of, this loss really does fall on him, and here's what I mean. You played Gabe Vincent for 25 minutes, and he scored 3 points. If you were going to play Gabe Vincent for that much, wouldn't it behoove you to find ways to kind of facilitate it so he could score some points? But again, this quote-unquote offensive system, this Socrates-like philosophy of offense from J.J. Redick, doesn't really build anything around anybody not named LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves. So those guys, it's going to be really hard for them to find groove when things aren't really built for them. I'll throw in a couple of other names your way. Jared Vanderbilt really brought in defensively, I think, but not involved offensively. Dorian Finney-Smith, 3 points. So what this does is you're completely all in offensively with your three main guys, right? And, Rui was a non-factor. He really didn't have an impact on the game offensively. He was 3 of 9 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. So it wasn't without any impact. But he's not built around the flow of the offense. The flow of the offense is specifically with those three guys. And 2 of the 3 guys didn't really play well. Luka was 12 of 22 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3, 8 of 9 from free throw. He had 5 turnovers. Turnovers coming back to haunt him again. And when I look at LeBron, 3 assists, 4 turnovers. He had 19 points, but don't be deceived. His 8 of 18 shooting, he only made a couple of shots outside the paint. He was 1 of 5 from 3, 2 of 2 from free throw. I know that you'll look at his blocks and you'll look at his steals and you say, oh, defensively he was very good. Yeah, he made a few plays and that's nice. But they lost by 22 points. How impactful was the defense? The same things that we have discussed on this channel as Lakers' weaknesses, their inconsistency defensively, their inability to move the ball around and get other guys involved. You look at the way the Lakers lose, it's the same thing every time. This loss is a microcosm of the lack of dynamics that this team possesses in philosophy and in their in the way that they choose to run their offense. And defensively, this was one of their bad defensive games. But these are not new problems. These are problems that the Lakers have had as JJ Redick as their coach. So when I made the video about is JJ Redick a good coach, did he have a successful season? They finished third in the West, and by that metric, you'd say he had a successful season. But in his first game as the head coach of the LA Lakers, there is not a semblance, proof, piece of evidence that suggests that he coached a good game. In fact, Chris Finch outclassed him in this game. Everything Chris Finch did was hitting. Even when Anthony Edwards had to go back to the locker room with his injury, they still outscored the Lakers. Still. Slight margin, they still outscored the Lakers. So I don't know what the rest of this series is going to hold. When you lose the first game of an NBA series in which you are the home team and you are heavily favored to win this game, and out of the best 4 players in the series, you have 3 of them, and you get blown off the court, sure, we could point to, LeBron not shooting well. We could point to Austin Reeves not really doing enough. I think that's valid. That's fine. But I'm going to point to JJ Redick, the coach, and look at points of the game where adjustments had to be made, and it just wasn't happening. So, we've got a few games left in this series that we're going to learn more about this JJ Redick guy as a coach. All I know is that they fired Darvin Ham to put this guy in there, and we better start seeing some results that prove that their decision was the right one, especially since LeBron put him in there. So this will all fall back on them.